Hello everyone and welcome to the second anniversary of this channel. It's a little bit overdue, this video, but that is a bit of a running theme when it comes to a lot of the videos that came out this year. Well, that and burnout. Really all I wanted to do with this video was just basically do what it is that I did last year and just mark the occasion. There isn't really a point to this video as such, it's just going to be me just kind of going back over what it is I've been up to over the past year. What have things changed, what's improved, what hasn't improved, what it is I could do for the future, and really just to say thanks for all the people who've been watching these videos as well. So I suppose it does kind of have a point. So what is it that I think has improved and changed within the last year? Honestly, confidence. When I started doing these videos, I was quite quiet whenever it was that I was presenting on camera. And over this past year, I have noticed a very significant change with how it is that I present these videos. I do feel a lot louder. I do think I'm a lot livelier than I was before. And the thing is, I didn't realise just how different I was presenting on camera back when I started compared to what it is that I do now. Because whenever these videos get released and uploaded onto YouTube, I normally give them a little bit of a watch over just to make sure that everything's running smoothly. And sometimes I might just leave the video playing in the background and then the autoplay kicks in and then it'll do the suggested video next. And occasionally it'll be one of the videos that I've uploaded. And sometimes it'll be one of the older ones that I uploaded from either 2022 or early 2023. And it starts playing. And that is kind of the main part where I do start to realise that I have changed quite a lot when presenting these videos. I am a very different presenter now. Because as I said, when I was presenting those early videos, even though I knew that I was quite quiet, I thought that by the time that I got to 2023, that I was a lot louder and a lot more confident than I was when I started in 2022. But comparing how it is that I am now to how it was that I was at the beginning of 2023, I am so different. Because I'm watching those videos and I'm genuinely going, I do not remember being that quiet. So that's one thing that I do think has improved for the better. The sound quality is also something that I have strived to try and make a little bit better within this past year, because that has been something that has been bugging me for a very long time. If you are somebody who has watched this channel from the very beginning, you probably noticed how staticky and how just kind of fuzzy a lot of the sound has been from when it started. And that was something that I was trying to look into and I was trying to fix as best as I could. I know there is software out there that does kind of work, that does kind of filter out any sort of like static noise in the background. But when it comes to what it is that I use for this channel, I use Premiere Pro and I don't really have access to a lot of the other Adobe software out there. So I wasn't quite sure what else it was that I could actually do with the sound for these videos, because it just seemed like something that was just going to have to stay. And I kind of just left it as is, and I do genuinely regret that I didn't really look into it a little bit further, because I have now found something that has fixed it. The thing that really pushed it for me, that made me go, right, I need to get this fixed, is because I did have a comment on one of my earlier videos from 2023 that did say that the static was actually quite painful whenever they were listening to it on headphones. And that's not something that I've really sort of thought about before, and I'm genuinely sorry if that has happened to you. But that is the thing that really egged me on, that made me go, right, I need to genuinely look into this and I need to fix it as soon as possible. So I did manage to find a plugin that is actually available on Premiere Pro that actually does filter out any sort of static noise, and it does repair dialogue. And that's what I've been using since then. And you'll notice that around about that time, like especially like the Underworld video and some of the Halloween videos, the sound is a little bit mixed compared to some of the more recent ones or some of the older ones. That's kind of around the period where I was mucking around with the sound and trying to get it to sound as best as I could. But I think that as it is now, I think that it sounds much better and much clearer. It is still a bit of a work in progress. There are times where it can sound a little bit canny, a little bit tinny, and I think that sometimes I don't really know how else I can really sort of fix it, but it is just a bit of a learning curve, and hopefully it has improved a lot since when I started. Another big thing that's improved for me is just the edits that I've been able to do, not only with the actual videos, but even when it comes to Photoshop and the thumbnails that I've been making for this channel. I did say back in my 1 year on video that making the thumbnails was actually one of the more fun aspects of doing this channel, because it was something that I did find quite funny and I thought was quite entertaining. The stuff that I was able to get up to and just kind of like merging all these images together and just like, how am I going to fit into this and things like that, and just coming up with the poses, and am I going to be holding anything, am I going to be doing anything, interacting with the characters. And I think that is one thing that has remained pretty consistent. The one thing that has changed is the fact that I don't use that sort of like misty background anymore. I just use completely the film posters, which I think looks a bit better, to be honest. But when it comes to the actual video edit, I do think that that is something that I have tried to focus on a little bit more and trying to sort of improve and tweak as time goes on. The actual reviews themselves, the biggest thing for me when it comes to the actual edit was more the sound design of of it, and that's the thing that I think has been fixed. But when it comes to like the intros, for instance, the edits for those are very important because it does need to help sell what it is that I'm actually doing within those intros. And it's not necessarily just the edits either, it's the storytelling, it is the cinematography, it is the sound design, it is the colour correction, it's basically all the aspects that would go into filmmaking that goes into these intros. This past year I have wanted to push myself a bit further as a filmmaker. It is something that I have wanted to focus on a little bit more. I wanted to experiment, I wanted to try and improve on different aspects that I have maybe done in the past but not very well, or there's loads of things, loads of techniques that I have thought about doing but have never done before and I wanted to give a go. There's a lot of little techniques and tricks and camera trickery and all sorts that I have wanted to test for a very long time, and the intros that I've been making within this past year has allowed me to actually do quite a bit of it. Almost to the point where some of these intros have felt a lot bigger than ever before. Like some of the ones that I've done for this past year in 2023, they have been so much bigger than the ones that I did in 2022, which were quite short and quite basic, which, you know, compared to what it is I've been getting up to this past year, they are quite simple and straightforward. So 2 of the reviews that I did in 2023 were actually doing something that I have wanted to do for a very long time, and that is trying to incorporate 2 different me into a scene. And the videos that I did that for was things like The Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers and The Room. Yeah, so I really hate to break the illusion for both of these videos, but what it is that I did for both of these videos was I managed to incorporate an edit that was able to actually make it so that I was appearing in 2 places at once. So if any of you out there are thinking that I do have an identical twin or anything like that, that's not true at all. Both of those characters in both of those videos are played by me. I did not think that they would look as good as they did, but honestly, I am so surprised how well they actually did turn out, especially the Two Towers one. I was really shocked how well that actually looks. The biggest issue for me there was actually just timing and making sure that I was actually reacting to things in the way that I was supposed to. There is a little bit of a pause that I made in the Two Towers one just to make sure that I did line it up as accurately as possible to the younger self. The granddad especially, he needs to react to what it is that the young grandson is actually shouting at him, and I needed to make sure that the timing was spot on. So there is a slight pause, and I think that it matches up almost perfectly, so I'm really happy with how that one turned out. The Room one, it is literally just the one sequence where you see the 2 of them on screen, and it is literally just a case of just maintaining eye line. The rest of the time it is just basically a singular shot between these 2 characters, so it looks like there is a conversation going on between them. And it was fun getting dressed up. I mean, I haven't really done like a proper dress up video since like the video that I did for Multiverse of Madness, where I actually had like a full-on Doctor Strange outfit. It is genuinely fun getting the chance to actually play different characters. That is something that I did actually want to do with these intros. That was something that I was aiming to actually sort of introduce a little bit more, actually have like characters that could actually appear in these videos and would go on to become like regulars maybe. Like it's not always going to be doable because like some of the stories that I am doing in these intros don't always require characters to come back from older videos, but there are some videos that, especially ones that I want to do, some of the ones that I wanted to do in early 2024, which unfortunately I haven't been able to do just like for time constraints and burnout, as I said, they were going to have characters making comebacks from older videos, and that is something that I do still want to do. So those videos, which I'm going to tell you what they are now because might as well. The video that I want to do for a 2014 horror movie called The Babadook, that is, I wanted to do an intro for that video, and that is going to require a character that has appeared in one of the older videos. I'm not going to say who because that's just going to spoil the surprise when he actually does show up, but that is something that I did want to do, and I did want to bring that character back and in some fashion. And then also I've been thinking about doing a video for X-Men 97 because that show has absolutely blown my mind. That has been one of the best things to come from Marvel Studios in years. I'm so happy with how it's turned out, and I really wanted to do a video for it, and I thought, like, you know, I could do some sort of intro for it, and then I just had this idea and I thought I could bring that character back for a little bit, or 2 characters back, and just have them interacting again. I think that could be a really fun idea. So yeah, those are 2 that I do want to do this year, and hopefully I will get the chance to. There is one other reason why the Babadook video has been put on hold, and I'll talk about that in a little bit later on. But when it comes to some of the other videos that I have made this past year, some of the intros where I have kind of pushed what it is that I can do when it comes to like just the basic edits or just some of the techniques that I've been implementing. The video that I did for Barbie actually does include something that I haven't really done before for this channel, which is something that has surprised me a little bit because it is something that a lot of YouTubers especially do tend to incorporate into their videos, and that's using green screen. It's only for the one shot, and it is very short and very brief, but that one shot does feature a green screen sequence, and I bought a green screen just purely to do that, and hopefully some of the videos that I do want to do in the next few months or so. The Amazing Spider-Man 2 is a video that I do want to do a video review for, and I do want to actually do an intro for that, and I will need to use a green screen for it. So thankfully I do now have that available to me, and that is something that I do want to incorporate a little bit more into some of these videos. I don't want to become like too dominant, but I do want to use it when and where necessary. It doesn't look too bad in the Barbie video, I will admit, but I do think that it could be a little bit better here and there. I think it is more just the lighting that I was using for it, because the only light that I actually have accessible is just the little ring light that I've got in front of me like right now, the one that I'm using for these videos. I don't have any sort of like soft lights or anything to just like sort of like light it up as much as possible, because that is something that you do need when it comes to green screen. You need to make sure that the lighting is as consistent as possible. So that is something that does need improving, and hopefully that is something that will start to get fixed soon. But also something else that I did with that video that I've never really done before, well, apart from the Werewolf by Night video, pretty much the whole intro up until the bit where he's dancing around in the cinema is completely in black and white, and I was using like old radio sounds for like the voiceover and narration. I've never done that before properly. I'm really happy how that turned out. That actually does look really good. I think that visually, I think that that is one of the better videos that I have done. But then one of the other big films that I wanted to do a video review for was actually the Flash movie, and that includes an effect that I have been wanting to try and test and experiment with for a very long time, and that is just the use of super speed. I've never done anything like that before, and it was something that I was genuinely quite worried about how it was actually going to turn out. I didn't think that it was going to look any good at all. I looked into different techniques about how to potentially do it on YouTube, and looking at different tutorials and things like that. I had a basic idea of how it was that it could work. I know that how they do Quicksilver in Days of Future Past, the X-Men movies. That's actually more or less how it is that I actually did the video that I made for the Flash, because the techniques that they use for that is very simple, is very basic and very straightforward. You know, it might not look it at all. That is purely because of just how the camera moves, and that is the only thing that I wasn't really able to do, because I didn't really want to shift it around. It was something that I just wanted to try and test and just experiment with, so I didn't want to just try and put even more obstacles in my way. So I kept it as static as possible, so I just kept it to just static images. I didn't really want to move the camera around too much, and I'm surprised just how well that actually did turn out. I'm really happy with it. And then there's one other intro that I made this year, and honestly it might be one of the best things I think I've ever done, like not only for this channel but even pre-existing it. This might be the best thing I've ever done, and that's the intro video that I created for Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey. I am honestly surprised just how well that actually did turn out, because initially it wasn't even something that I was even really considering actually doing, because I didn't actually want to see the movie, to be honest. It wasn't something that I really wanted to do, and then I just had this idea of what it was that I wanted to do for an intro for it, and I thought, I've got to do the video now. It's too good an idea not to do. And unfortunately that did mean that I did need to actually watch the movie. So I sat through the movie. And as I said, I'm really surprised with how well it actually did turn out, from the filmmaking perspective, from the actual cinematography, from the storytelling, from the way that it's edited and paced out, the music that I used. Because it was a video that was coming out around Halloween, I did want it to actually have a little bit of a jump scare. I did want to give people a little bit of a jolt. I'm actually quite happy that some of the people who have actually watched it have actually seen that section with the jump scare and they have openly admitted that they actually did jump at Winnie the Pooh jumping at them. I'm quite proud of that, to be honest. But the biggest thing that really surprised me was just how well the audio actually turned out for that video, because initially it wasn't really sounding very good. The audio for it was all over the place and it just didn't sound right at all. So I'm going to openly admit this now. The audio that is in like a good chunk of the video is completely ADR. The reason why, especially a lot of the videos and a lot of the reviews that I've been doing over the past few months, I have brought up ADR and sound design a lot more often, is because of what it is that I went through with that video. I knew how important the sound actually was for that video and needed it to be as good as it possibly could be. And the audio, the dialogue just wasn't quite matching what it is that it should have been. And I just knew that it needed improving as best as possible. And I don't really have the equipment or software to really sort of do like proper ADR. So I was doing it like up to camera. I literally had the microphone on camera, the microphone I've got on top of my camera right now. I'm literally like right up against it, just trying to say all these lines of dialogue. I've written down all the dialogue that I said. Like, unlike pretty much all the other intros that I normally did, the one that I did for Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey is almost completely improvised on the spot. There's no script, there was no storyboard whatsoever for it, which is so different from what it is that I did with things like Spider-Man or Halloween, which I normally do have storyboards for, or some sort of script so I can actually sort of read off of. So with Winnie the Pooh, I basically had to go over the video and just go over like, right, what is it that I said in this bit? How did I say it? How was it kind of phrasing it like that? And it's become a bit of a game with some of the other filmmaker friends of mine where I've actually shown them the video and I've basically gone, try and work out which bits are ADR and which bits aren't. And it's a good 50% of the time they'll actually get it right and how much they'll get wrong. But I am genuinely shocked how much of it is actually ADR, which I'll tell you now, the first half of the video, up until the bit where he sits down with the apple, all of that section is ADR, and I genuinely don't know how it turned out as well as it did. It really surprised me how good it actually does sound. And on top of that, I do think that in general, I do think that that intro is one of the best things that I have done. I do think I'm really proud of it. I'm really happy with how it turned out. I don't know if I'm going to do one for the upcoming movies like Blood and Honey Part 2 and Bambi the Reckoning, because we need that movie, and the Peter Pan one and the Pinocchio and Pooniverse, whatever it's called. I don't know if I really want to do videos for those movies. Apparently the Blood and Honey Part 2 has actually been a little bit better than the first one, so I might check it out, but I don't know if I'll do a video for it or not. We'll see. But yeah, I am really happy with how that one turned out, and I really don't know how it is I'm actually going to top it. As I said, I do want to do more intros. I do want to try and continue pushing myself as a filmmaker. I do want to keep experimenting and testing different techniques. Some of the ones that are upcoming, like the Babadook, like Amazing Spider-Man 2, I am going to try and sort of push what it is that I am able to actually do. Well, Amazing Spider-Man 2 is not really going to be that hard, to be honest, but the Babadook one is going to be something that I am curious to see how it actually turns out, because it is going to involve a lot of darker shots, darker imagery, and playing around with shadows and things like that, which I've never done before, so I'm curious how that one's going to turn out. I hope it's okay. Fingers crossed. But as I said, I am definitely quite behind on some of the videos that I have wanted to do. There have been a few that I have wanted to do earlier on in this year, like the Babadook, and one that has been long overdue for The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King. I have wanted to do a little intro for that video. It's something that I have been wanting to do for a little while. The actual video itself, the actual review for itself, just to kind of cap off the Middle-earth trilogy. I do want to do the Hobbit movies, and I do want to look at the animated movie as well one day. Hopefully I'll get around to doing that. But there was a very big delay, and I have had to put them on hold for a few different reasons, one of which was purely burnout. This has been a bit of a stressful year. There has been a lot going on. Especially around December, around Christmas time, because I've said before, I do work full-time. I do have a full-time job, and it is a bit of a juggling act. It is a very stressful juggling act, not only doing the full-time job and then coming home, recording the videos, doing all the pre-production, all the post-production, all the edits and everything like that. It is a lot. It is very taxing. That's one of the reasons why I went down to just doing one video per week. And it has had a bit of a knock-on effect, especially because around December time, it was Christmas season, which, you know, it's quite stressful anyway. But what it was that I have to do in my job, it really did put a strain on me, and it honestly took me out for a little bit, and I really just couldn't concentrate enough on doing this anymore, and it was something that I was really struggling to sort of like get back into the habit of doing. So like around winter time especially, it just wasn't happening, and that's part of the reason why there was such a big delay on a lot of the videos that I was doing. Like Demolition Man, for instance, should have been out like the end of September. That's when it was initially meant to go out, but it got delayed and delayed and delayed and delayed until eventually I managed to get it out in late January or early February. I can't remember right now. But that is genuinely one of the reasons why it was delayed as late as it was, because I was genuinely just burnt out on doing this. And that's one of the reasons why over the past couple of months, it has been a bit more scattered when it comes to the actual releasing of these videos. It has been like either 2 or 3 weeks between videos, just because I'm still trying to catch up on some of the ones that I want to do and try and balance that with the ones that I wanted to do this year. And it's been a bit of a juggling act, and it's really just kind of like clogged up all the ones that I want to do. So I'm going to have to really be careful and pick and choose what films it is I am actually doing videos for. There's a lot of newer films that I wasn't really thinking of doing videos for, like Argyle or Madam Web. I wasn't really planning on doing videos for those movies, but I just thought, you know what, I've been to see them, I've got thoughts, I might as well. And it has been nice having a little bit more time to myself, to be honest, because it's just allowed me just to have a bit of time just to kind of like do my own thing and just kind of like catch up on things. Like, there's a load of TV series that I haven't really been able to watch, like Invincible, I haven't been able to catch up on that. The Boys as well, which I really love and I wanted to catch up with, and Gen V. I very recently actually started watching The Legend of Korra. I've seen Avatar: The Last Airbender, the animated series. I've seen the live action one as well. Let's not go there. But The Legend of Korra was something that did get me quite intrigued, and was kind of curious to see what it was that they were going to do with this. And, you know, it is set like 70 years, something like that, after the events of Avatar: The Last Airbender. That was one of the shows that I did say, right, I'm going to actually probably sit down and watch it. I've just finished the 3rd season of it. I'm actually quite enjoying it. It's not been as good as Avatar, and I do kind of agree with the majority of the fan base there, but it has been really good actually being able to actually catch up on some of that stuff, and just sort of like catching up on not only that, but reading books. Like, I haven't been like properly reading books in a little while. I read comics, like things like that, because they're just quite short and easier to get through, but like full actual novels, I haven't really been able to do in a little while, so that's something that I have prioritised this past year. I've also been able to catch up on some of the games that I've been wanting to play for a little while. Very recently got a PS5, like just before Christmas, and over Christmas I did get a few different PS5 games, plus a few of the PS4 games that I already had that I hadn't actually played before. Did actually have PS5 upgrades available to them, so I thought, you know what, get it before Christmas, start playing those PS4 games on there, get the upgrades and everything. So I've been able to catch up on some of the old PS5 games, some of the new PS5 games that I have wanted to been playing for a little while. Like, I've played Miles Morales before on the PS4, but I thought, you know what, that's probably the best game to kind of christen the PS5, because that's kind of the game that was kind of released alongside it. So I thought, let's do that one, let's play Miles Morales. Really enjoyed it. The controls freaked me out a little bit because I wasn't used to that. I knew that the PS5 controller was supposed to be adaptable, and it was supposed to be a bit different to what it was that the PS4 console does and the PS4 controller. But I wasn't expecting it to actually fight back on the triggers. I was a bit surprised at just how forceful it actually can be. Plus, the sound effects that come from it, I wasn't expecting them just to be as detailed as they are, like all the voiceover and some of the sound effects and things like that. So I thought that was actually a really good game to actually start off on. Plus, I replayed Sonic Frontiers as well on PS5 version, but I've also been able to play Spider-Man 2 on exclusively for PS5. I thought it was really good. It's honestly one of the buggiest games I think I've ever played, to be completely honest, and I think that's the thing that disappointed me the most. I love the black suit. I think that the powers that you get with it is absolutely fantastic. I think if it was slowed down a bit, I think if it was paced out better, I think that the actual story for it, I think, would be a little bit better, because I do think it is a very rushed story overall. I think that the depiction of the black suit, I think, is probably one of the best ones I think I've ever seen before. Craven especially, oh my god, he is such a brilliant version of that character. I loved what they did with him. I think that the build-up, what they were doing with Harry, I knew that, you know, spoilers, I knew that Harry Osborn was going to end up being Venom. I didn't think that they were going to bring in Eddie Brock. I thought that was going to be too much for that game. How much was already going on, I thought that was going to be too much. So I liked that they decided to go with someone who did have a personal connection to Peter previously, so that you don't need to kind of like do all like the build up and the journalism stuff and things like that. But the biggest issue for me was actually when Venom actually does enter the game. It's so rushed, and the fact that it suddenly turns into a symbiote takeover storyline like Web of Shadows, but just like nowhere near as scary or investing. I was quite disappointed with how that section turned out, but the emotions, the actual character arcs and everything like that, that was excellent. I absolutely loved that. I thought that was fantastic. But as I said, I definitely felt like it could have been just longer, and I don't think that they should have gone for like a full-on symbiote invasion storyline. I think that what they should have just completely focused on is Harry's resentment and the symbiote getting angry at being rejected by Peter. That would have been a much more compelling and much more intense story, and I think that that's what it is that they should have done. So there's my review for Spider-Man 2, but I am looking forward to playing more games in the future, so that is something that hopefully, because I've got a bit more time on my hands, I will start to do. But anyway, when it comes to some of the stuff that I have been getting up to on this channel over the past year, one of the things that really did kind of affect me back in like December time and around like January, even like through till now, I did develop a few back problems and a few leg problems. Like, I don't even know what really sort of set it off in the first place, but it was something that just kind of happened. It's died off. It's definitely much better than it was. The back problems have gone, like they're completely gone. It's just completely leg problems now. That is part of the reason why some of the intros have actually been delayed, because some of it does involve me actually like running or lying down. It's nowhere near as bad as it once was. Like back in December, I really was having trouble just walking, sitting down, standing up, things like that. It was genuinely quite painful at times. So it's great that I do feel better now. I can move around. I'm able to actually do stuff now. So hopefully I will be able to do those videos that I did plan to do early on this year. One other thing that did kind of slow me down when it came to a lot of these videos getting released was actually when it comes to the actual pre-production side of things, because the way that I actually made those videos was I always make little notes about what it was that I wanted to talk about in each video, like what I've got here in front of me right now. One of the reasons why the videos were always quite long is because I can kind of ramble on quite a bit, as I've probably just done right now. And one of the things that I was kind of hoping to try and do was trying to sort of like shave down on just how long it is that I actually talk in these videos, because I don't want these videos to just be like half an hour long each. I don't always like watching half an hour long videos, but it depends on how interesting or how much information there actually is, or how invested it is that I actually am in the video. When it comes to these videos, I didn't want them to be too long. I didn't want to go too in detail, but I wanted to be in detail enough and address everything that I want to address. And I think it was with the spoiler video for The Flash that I decided to do this, where I started like writing down like actual scripts for the video. It was just an easy way for me to kind of like go over what it was that I want to say, make sure that everything's just kind of like refined, that I'm not just kind of like waffling on for absolutely no reason. I'm making sure that I'm hitting and addressing everything that I want to do. And from that point on, I kind of stuck to doing that, and I literally was doing like a full script for pretty much every single video from that point on, which is very time consuming, and that is one of the reasons why I was just having absolutely no time to myself, and I needed to have some time off, and that is one of the reasons that did contribute to me having a bit of a burnout. This video right now is not scripted, as you probably guessed. I am waffling on quite a bit, I do apologise. But like the previous video that I did a review for, which is Dandylicious, which is a video that it was a bit of a surprise, because I've actually got a few friends who actually did work on that movie, and one of them did approach me and actually said, would you give that video a look over and give it like an honest review? And I said, yeah, okay, and gave it a go. But that is one of the videos that I needed to script out, because I needed to make sure that I was saying everything that I needed to say, and I wasn't just sort of going on with things, or just wasn't saying things in a way that didn't really make sense. Scripting it was just kind of like an easy way for me just to kind of like do everything properly. So what it is that I've been trying to do this past year is try and sort of balance it out a little bit more. Like when I came to do my review for Argyle, you'll notice that that video is a little bit longer than some of the previous ones. There's no script for that one. That was completely off script. And I've been trying to sort of balance it out as much as possible, and that's what it is that I want to do from now on. So you can probably work out which one it is based on the length. I've probably gone on a little bit too long for this video, so I'm just going to like skip to the end bit that I really want to kind of talk about. And I've hit quite a few big milestones this past year. The subscriber count for this channel currently is sitting at 407 subscribers, which is so much more than I ever thought I would ever get. I was genuinely shocked and amazed that I even passed 100 back in 2022, so I'm really amazed and impressed that I've managed to actually make it this far. Plus the total view count for all the videos combined on this channel have crossed over 82,000, which is kind of terrifying, because I never thought so many people would actually watch these videos, and it's genuinely amazing just how many people have actually been tuning in to see this stuff. I'm so thankful that so many people have been watching these videos. It is honestly, this is one of the biggest points to this video, is actually doing these little yearly wrap-up videos. Every single person who has been tuning into these videos, every single person who has subscribed, who has commented, who has liked or disliked, I don't mind to be honest. Every single bit of interaction that you guys have been giving me over this past year, I can't thank you enough. This has genuinely meant so much to me, and I'm genuinely so thankful for every little bit of support that I've been getting. Plus there's two other people that I do want to give a little thank you to for actually helping me out and actually making some of the intros that actually featured throughout this year. And they are both my mum and my dad, because they actually helped me work on the Flash intro and the Halloween intro, and honestly, thank you so much for helping me out and all the support that you've been both giving me this year. And that honestly goes for every single one of you that's been watching these videos this past year, and every single one of you that's watching this video right now. Thank you so much for all your support. It has meant so much. Well, I think that might be the best place to actually wrap this video up. Hopefully this video hasn't been going on too long. I estimate this probably already has reached the 30-minute mark. I really don't know at this point in time. I can't time it, to be honest. So let's wrap this video up here. Thank you so much for watching this video and for all the support that you've given me over the past year. As always, if you enjoy the content that is featured on this channel, please like and subscribe, and be sure to hit the notification button to keep up to date on everything that's going on here. If you do have any suggestions for any rewind reviews you would like to see me do in the future, let me know down in the comments. I'll probably do another one of these videos in 2025, so keep an eye out for updates about it. But until next time, thank you very much for watching, thank you for all the support, and I'll see you next time on Rewind Reviews. See you guys.